We have very big political news to talk about today. Ohio has decided to switch to an all by mail Democratic primary, which will run essentially from now until April 28th. And the idea is a good one. Republican Governor Mike DeWine in Ohio has been one of the best governors on the coronavirus response. But there are major concerns about the specifics of how Ohio is doing this. And you'll very clearly understand why when I give you the details. For context, earlier this week, Nancy Pelosi said on MSNBC that in general, because of the virus, we should be switching to mailing in our ballots. And I completely agree. Trump doesn't want this. We know why Trump doesn't want it. Trump knows that if more people can vote more easily in November, it's bad for him. It's more likely that he does not get a second presidential term, and it's good for Democrats. So there's this battle where Nancy Pelosi wants vote by mail. Donald Trump does not want vote by mail. Now, you might remember that the Ohio Democratic primary was scheduled for Tuesday, March 17th. That was sort of like Super Tuesday 3. We had Super Tuesday on March 3rd, colloquially Super Tuesday 2 on March 10th. And then Super Tuesday 3 on March 17th. Ohio postponed because of the virus. The idea was to reschedule to June 2nd. The new plan is it will be a mail-in primary in Ohio, and voters will have until April 28th to submit their ballots. Now, in general, this does sound good. And indeed, Republican Governor Mike DeWine said he would sign this bill soon, and we can get started on this vote by mail Democratic primary. But there are some concerns that voters are going to end up disenfranchised because the way that this is likely to work out is the Ohio Secretary of State is going to send out a postcard to every registered voter. And the postcard will say, hey, we're voting by mail. You have to request an absentee ballot. And that is really the source of the problem here, because even if you are a registered voter, you won't get a ballot automatically. You'll get a card that tells you how to ask for a ballot. Now, the reason for this, and this is true, the Secretary of State says this, and this is true, the absentee ballot rules, as many of you know, in many states are, you have to request an absentee ballot. You can't just send ballots to everybody. You have to have a process whereby someone says, I want an absentee ballot and here's why. That's true. But these are special circumstances. These are unprecedented circumstances. So what should be done is in the coronavirus bill that's being passed, which includes that there's going to be a vote by mail primary, they should include a provision that changes the rule. It suspends the rule and says we're going to send everybody a ballot instead of a postcard. In other words, decide as a legislature, this particular circumstance is so unusual and so different, we need to suspend the you must request a ballot rule. Because otherwise the timeline probably won't work. It's April 2nd today. That leaves us 26 days for voting. In those 26 days, the state needs to design, agree upon a design, print and mail postcards to every registered voter. Voters then need to, in the midst of everything everybody's dealing with, send that back, or rather go through the process of asking for a ballot, which according to the Secretary of State's website, you have to print and sign the ballot request form, mail it back by snail mail. Those ballots then need to be sent out, be filled out, and again, you have to mail that back. It's really not reasonable. And the ACLU and other groups agree this will disenfranchise people. So we need to see how they deal with this. I believe the simplest path is simply suspend the rule that says you have to request an absentee ballot. Say this is such an extenuating circumstance, we're sending a ballot to everybody. Now, in terms of the race itself in Ohio, the latest polling we have out of Ohio is from mid-March. Things could have changed since then. Two polls from mid-March. In one of them, Joe Biden is ahead of Bernie by 23. In another mid-March poll, Joe Biden is ahead of Bernie by 22. It's been 2 weeks of virus craziness. It's conceivable that those numbers may have changed to some degree. We don't know, but that is the latest out of Ohio, and we will let you know probably by Monday. If there's no advancement on this by Monday, we know it simply is not going to work. Make sure that you sign up for the David Pakman Show newsletter at davidpakman.com. Why? Next Thursday, April 9th, we are doing a one-day membership bomb. I told you yesterday that in March, because of the virus, a lot of people are tightening the belts. And we had 389 people cancel memberships in March. That's a record for us. We want to set records for new members. Instead, we set a record for canceled memberships. We are also on YouTube experiencing about a 35% revenue decline, again, because of what's going on with the virus. So the idea is Thursday, April 9th, everybody on our mailing list will get an email with a special one-time coupon code. We want to have like a big single day membership drive. To be notified about that discount, just sign up for my mailing list at davidpakman.com. In the meantime, let me know on Twitter, how is the isolation going in your city, town, state, village, country, wherever you are? I'm on Twitter at dpakman. We'll take a quick break and be back after this. If you ever feel like you just don't have enough time to read all the books you want to read, you have to check out one of my favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist takes thousands of popular nonfiction books and distills each one down into an ebook or audiobook that you can get through in just 15 minutes, where you're getting all the key takeaways from the book. Just imagine how you'll be able to expand your horizons and knowledge by being able to soak up all of the important insights from 10 different books in an afternoon. Obviously, it's perfect for exposing yourself to a new book you otherwise wouldn't have time for, or you can use it to revisit a book you've already read, or use it to preview a book before you buy the full version and read it. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way, and it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.